Welcome to the Cardiac Arrhythmias and Obesity Research Lab. I'm Kedar Aris, Assistant Professor in the Department of Physiology and Biophysics and an adjunct faculty in the Department of Biomedical Engineering at University at Buffalo. For today's episode, I wanted to share my perspective on giving an effective job talk. So before we get to that, let's understand what the logistics is in terms of what a job talk entails. Typically, it's a 1 hour session, a 45-minute talk, followed by 15 minutes of Q&A. Oftentimes, the host introduces you to the audience, and they'll probably use your CV to introduce you, and then you take over. And oftentimes, the audiences vary. You'll have undergraduate students, graduate students who may not have any exposure to your research or interest in your research. They may just be there for the food. There will be colleagues from your potential department. And if you're interviewing at a school of medicine, there may be physicians who might be interested in and curious about the kind of research you do. The point being, the audience is not uniform. It's heterogeneous, which means your job talk has to cater to this varied audience so that every audience type takes away something from your talk. So what makes for an effective job talk? Before we get to that, it's important to understand what a job talk isn't. You probably have had enough experience having presented your science at conferences, given your PhD defense, given your PhD candidacy, and it kind of has a similar feel for it. A 45-minute talk where you talk about 2 or 3 different projects, talk about the background, the introduction, the methods, the results, the discussion, the takeaways, and then you rinse and repeat for every project you did. If it's a 45-minute talk, if it's a 15-minute scientific presentation at a conference, it's the same approach: introduction, methods, results, discussion, future work, and so on and so forth. And the audience is pretty much homogeneous. They are interested in your work, interested in your research, and that's what you have been exposed to and have a good experience with. But that is not a job talk. The audience, and in fact, the department and the recruiting committee who has invited you to give a job talk, they already know that you have the chops to do research. Otherwise, they would not have you visit them for an on-campus visit. What they are interested in is your vision, a sense of what your research lab would look like. What are you planning to do in the next, as an independent researcher, in the next 3 to 5 years? And can you communicate that vision? Can you articulate your science to a varied audience in a way that resonates? Are you a good fit in the department? Are you congenial? Do you think they can get along and have beer, coffee with you? So they're trying to get a sense of that. Science, yes, it's important, but you have already met that threshold. So it would be a serious mistake on your part if you focus your job talk in trying to impress the audience on how smart you are or how awesome your science is. They already know, especially the people that invited you for a campus visit. They already know and they're excited about your research, which is why you were invited for a campus visit. Now, the key is, what else can you do? Can you communicate and articulate your vision for your lab? What is your first 3 to 5 years is going to look like? How are you going to fit into the department? What is your personality? And those are the things that, if addressed in your job talk, will make for a successful job talk. So to recap, a job talk typically is a 45 to 60-minute session. It can be a 40 to 45-minute talk. The host will let you know in advance how much time you have, and that'll be followed by 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. And a job talk is definitely not your usual scientific presentation. It is, in fact, an ability for you, an opportunity for you to communicate and articulate your science and the vision for your lab. And if you're able to accomplish that effectively, then you would have given a really good job talk. So how to give a good job talk? We'll talk about it more in the next episode. Until then, see ya.